Welcome back to the Make or Break Shop, and this week we're going to try to send Baby Yoda to space. Alright, what is up guys? I'm Brendan and welcome back to the shop where we break lots of things so eventually we can make them, because mistakes are always an option, and this project is full of those mistakes. So we're going to send Baby Yoda from the Mandalorian to the edge of space. At least that is the idea. So I have always been a big space fan, and I've always loved projects that have anything to do with rockets or explosions or going really, really high. I have seen a bunch of these in the past. There are weather balloon projects where you attach a payload to a weather balloon, but I've always wondered, how do you actually pull that off? And there's not a ton of resources online, so I thought I'd go through the full process and kind of show you guys what I did to see if this would actually work. All right, so this is pretty much the idea. We're gonna have a payload attached to a parachute, which is then attached to a big ol' balloon. This is helium that you fill this thing up with, and the idea is that once you launch it, Earth, pretty much my house, here I am, we're going to launch it, then it is going to go till eventually, because of the difference in pressure, this balloon is going to pop. So we're going to launch it, and then it's going to drift all the way back down and land on Earth. You can do some calculations and people can do altimeters and all that kind of stuff to actually figure out how high it's gonna go. We're not gonna get super deep into that in this video. If you guys are interested, I'll include links down below to a full tutorial. But what the idea is that we are going to go from 0, and this is probably gonna be around 70,000 feet. And you might be like, all right, that's great, 70,000 feet, that's gonna go up, it's gonna come back down, but how in the world are you gonna find it? So let's talk about the actual payload, and then we'll get into actually putting the thing together. So I've seen a few of these weather balloon projects in the past. I've also seen tons of these 360 videos that people have been doing. More recently, there's actually a new one of these cameras out from Insta360. I actually reached out to them. I said, hey, I'd love to send your camera to the edge of space. This is not sponsored from them, but they did send this to me for free. Really, I wanted to get that 360 view. Links to everything that I've used to actually build this thing are right down below if you guys want to check this out. In a minute, we're gonna go and get a styrofoam box to put all this stuff inside of. To power this guy, I've got a little anchor power block. So the 360 camera comes with this little selfie stick. And then this is the actual balloon. I'm not gonna actually open this guy up, but we'll have this with us. And this is the parachute. I am really out of shape. Parachute works. This is the most important. This is the spot tracker. Let's go get this guy set up and see if we can track ourselves while we get the rest of this stuff done today. So, styrofoam container and hot hands. I've got to go to what is my least favorite place in the world, Walmart. All right, I'm about to walk through here with the camera. That did not work. I'm gonna go try someplace else. And we're walking out of Academy. We got some hot hands. So there's one more thing we need to do before we launch this guy. And that is to actually get, we don't have any helium. This thing is not going anywhere. So the helium actually wound up being one of the hard things about this whole process. I was hoping that I could just rent that at like a party store, like a Party City, but apparently they don't rent those, at least not around in my area. And you could buy the little tanks, but it's gonna wind up being like $200 to get enough helium to do it. So, driving to Atlanta to a specialty party store. It's like this warehouse. It's check. All right, so we made it back. We've got the helium. Time to get it inside. The big thing is you want to make sure you look at all of your local regulations. In the US, that's going to be through the FAA. And for the most part,
This actually doesn't come under any of the rules that you need to follow. Like if this thing was over 5 pounds or whatever, all the rules are right here. But in my case, I can pretty much avoid all of that. And one big thing that I realized is if you have any strings that are tying things together, a 50-pound force needs to be able to break those apart. This paracord that I bought, I want to say is rated for like 250 pounds. So I got something a little bit different. And this is polyester, but it is just rated for 50 pounds. So what we're going to do is get all this stuff tied up. And I'm thinking the very first thing that we do is actually have payload, figure out how we're gonna do that. So this camera obviously is the big part of this. And what I'm thinking is I'm gonna use the mount that this comes with, this Insta360 pole, and just push this through the inside and kind of have this at the bottom, kind of have it offset. So for the most part, it is level. Tape this in. And then the other thing that we've got is this external battery. And then I'm going to wrap this cable. So the spot GPS tracker needs to be face up so it gets a GPS signal. I've read where people could have them in these and then maybe it hits the ground and it kind of rolls over. So to kind of counteract that, I'm gonna cut this way down in size. And the top kind of sits in there. But I'm just going to wind up duct taping everything anyway, so we should be all right. All right, we're gonna make holes big enough, get this little piece of wood through. So hopefully if it lands, it's going to bounce back. All right, so I believe now we can just connect this to the parachute. So we've got this thing for the most part put together. We've got the GPS tracker, external battery, and the One X. And we're actually gonna be launching it this morning. And what I wanted to do is kind of see what this shot is gonna look like and if I need to push it further out of this. So I'm gonna hang it up, taking a look at the app. So this is kind of the shot that we're gonna get. So now that we've got pretty much everything good to go, I just need to tape it up and make sure stuff doesn't shift around. What we need to do is get the overall weight so that we can calculate some other things. So it's coming in at about 900 grams, and I'm gonna add just a little bit more to that. Just to get an idea, I don't even know how much this weighs. Yeah, we're gonna make it about 930 on the grams. Get some of these things sealed up, and then we are going to take this outside, fill up the helium balloon, and launch it. Gonna add a little note just in case someone finds it. All right, we're just gonna try filling this sucker up. Oh, I hope this works. All right, so we've got this sucker buoyant, and now that we've got the safety attached, what we're gonna do is attach this to our water, and we're gonna wait till we get enough buoyancy to where this will pretty much pull it up. So it's actually getting way too big, so we need to bring it outside without popping anything. Now this is outside, and I'm gonna bring the helium out here and keep this inflating. So not totally sure what's going on, but I'm out of helium somehow already. So we're gonna go and tie this sucker off and just let it go and see what happens. So that did not go as expected. You know, when you're doing something for the first time, it's kind of time sensitive, and there's always a chance you can mess up, and then it does. Kind of sucks. From the instant replay, you can see the instant that I took this off. This is what was holding the whole thing in, and those zip ties just slipped right down. Again, this is the make or break shop where we are not perfect and we're doing things the very first time. So if you guys are ever messing with a weather balloon, make sure and tie that thing down. We're gonna wind up something like that.
All right, so a lot has happened. Several months have gone by since the last time we did this test. It is now past Christmas. It's actually really cold outside, and we're going to try round 2. So to do this, we're actually going to move to the front of the yard. Wow, that's bright. I'm gonna grab a tarp really quick so that we can put everything on a fairly good surface. Oh, this is hurting my arm because this is really heavy. So we're gonna go in the front yard and hopefully not mess too much stuff up. So we've got this guy put together. We've got Baby Yoda chilling, 360 camera, there's a GoPro. We're gonna hook everything up to helium. So this is what we did wrong last time. We did not have a safety. This is going to go around this guy, and I'm just gonna zip tie it just to double check. And then it is going to attach to our digital scale so we can actually get the weight of lift. And this is my safety, and this is what I did not have last time. So now that all of that is in place, we can hook the tube up to the balloon. We're gonna cinch off the bottom, and we've got that PVC pipe that is in the very middle, and that is what all the other pipes are connected to. And last time I pulled the entire PVC piece out, and that's why it shot up, and this time it's already gonna stay in there, and this is just gonna slide up, and then we're gonna cinch it around the sides. If I did all of my calculations right, we're waiting till this gets to 3.1 pounds. And then that covers the weight of this, the weight of the string, the weight of our entire assembly, plus 700 grams of lift, which is what we need to hopefully get our calculations about right. Also, those guys are probably like, what is that guy doing? All right, so we're turning our tracker on. Pretty much all the gas is out of this, and I don't know if I just didn't get a big enough tank, but we're at about 2.7-ish pounds while the leaf blowers are going next door. All right, so now we are just sealing this guy up. And all I'm doing now, I'm trying to get these sharp edges. I'm gonna add one more zip tie just for safe measure. You are now attached. We're about to send you up. Hopefully, nothing messes up. Gonna hopefully avoid all these trees. All right, buddy. Godspeed. Way up there. It slowly goes up. We need to stop and get some gas, and so you can see I'm getting live updates from this thing, and we're gonna be going just south of Columbia, South Carolina, because I'm thinking hopefully that is where it is going to wind up. And we got a snack. So I was getting these points on the app. Eventually I stopped getting points, and so with the way this thing works, basically once there's no movement, it stops sending signals. So I hadn't seen anything for about 30 minutes, and I was like, oh, this must be it. I wound up being about 2.5 hours away, but as it turns out, as the balloon went higher, higher, and higher, it eventually reaches to a point where it can't send the GPS data back because it's too high, it's out of range. So it was somewhere along this, and then it actually goes up, pops, and then I started getting more GPS data. It was like another 100 miles down the road. So when it was all said and done, it wound up landing in Sumter, South Carolina, which is almost 200 miles, 4 hours from where it left off. And we are at this chicken farm. But luckily, I think this gate I can get through, and we are going to try and find this thing. It looks like it landed like in an open field. There's a power station way out there, and I'm thinking that's where it actually wound up landing. I'm gonna walk through this big old open field real quick. Oh gosh, there it is. I left 4 hours this morning, drove all the way over here. Oh, it's crazy. All right, looks like it's here, still intact. So the Insta360 was still recording. I just ended it. Success there. Now just to get the other camera out. All right, the GoPro recorded the whole time. So I get the GoPro out from inside of the styrofoam box. And then I notice there's this yellow tape. I put it right over the hole. I have no footage from the GoPro, so that was another break moment for this project. But I still had the 360 camera.
Godspeed.
So as we are slowly ascending to the top altitude, if you guys remember, there's gonna be a moment at the very top of the flight where this balloon pops. So as this thing is going up, the balloon is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till eventually, then you can actually see the balloon flying away, the parachute, and the thing tumbles for a little bit until the parachute finally catches and it slowly drifts back down to Earth. I tried to actually speed this up as a time lapse, but with kind of the way it leveled out and the footage was working, it looks really weird, so I'm kind of skipping around here to make it a little bit easy on you guys, but I do have the full footage, the full 2.5 hours of this flight. You guys can check out right up there. But the whole thing was I wanted to get that shot of Baby Yoda looking out over Earth and all of his force abilities. Luckily, since this was 360, you can kind of see Baby Yoda off to the side, and I managed to get a couple shots of him. So I'm also working on another video that goes more into the nuts and bolts of the actual process, especially on the calculation side of things. So I got a full tutorial that will be linked up here once it is ready, as well as a full text walkthrough. So until next time, go make or break something in your shop. See you guys.